Hello everyone, I'm Emma.
And I'm Tracey.
And we are Curly
Seams.
It's proving a little bit difficult, this technical know-how, isn't it? And
it is, yes.
A new way of life.
Yeah.
Anyway, nice to have you with us. Thank you for joining us. If you're coming to us for the first time, this is not what we normally do, obviously, but needs must, and we are keeping up with our social distancing. So, as Tracey said, we're here together on Zoom because it's better than nothing. I'm glad we decided to do this morning because I said to you yesterday, I actually washed my hair for the first time in maybe a week. I don't know about anybody else, but there's been no incentive to do it really. So anyway, I washed my hair and I got up this morning and I put some makeup on and I put some lipstick on and my daughter was laughing because I had a squirt of perfume. She's like, why are you putting perfume on? You're not
Same thing. It's all part of the ritual of getting ready.
So it's quite a nice excuse actually, just to
What you don't really know is underneath all I've got is my knickers. There's nothing beyond my waist.
No, the waist.
Actually, that's not true. I'm going to stand up in a minute, so you'll know.
Show everybody. I am dressed, and I've got me. I don't know if you can see, I've got my slippers on.
Oh, very nice.
Christmas socks on today.
Sparkly pink socks on.
Anyway, so I'm going to start because I've got to finish.
I can see it's lovely too. Yes.
So this is freshly blocked. I did have to message Tracey and say, what do I do with it now? And I'm really pleased with it. It's come out a little bit longer than I hoped. I hoped it would sit a little bit.
Oh, okay. Oh, I actually quite like the length, though. I think it's nice. So you wanted it round your neck, more round up?
I wanted it up a little bit further, just a fraction, not much. But I wanted it to sit a little bit higher up, which it did. When I took it off the needles, it seemed to do that. But obviously with blocking it, it's...
Things always seem to grow when they get blocked, don't they?
Yes. Well, it's the first time I've blocked anything, so I don't know. Anyway, this was I don't know if you can see this. This was Rowan pure wool 4-ply, and I also used the Katia. I'll cover the. I actually got that on. That looks back to front to me on there. Is it?
No, it doesn't to me. So
okay, that's all right. So and that was I managed to get some of that in the sale at work when they were clearing out. And I had 3 balls of this, and I had 3 balls of this, and I've used not even 1 ball of that. And for the cream, I had to, after our last discussion, because we did talk about it last time, I went online and I managed to source an extra ball from the lovely Stuart at the Wool Pack. Hello, Stuart, or Curly 3 as he's now affectionately known. And I managed to get another ball so that I could keep going and make it a little bit.
By the way, you haven't. This is the first time I came across the Wool Patch.
Yes.
I think it's lovely. The YouTubes are fantastic. So
I've been
love it.
I've been watching them this week, really enjoying them.
Yeah, I have as well. Yeah.
So it was meant to be about, I think, 11.5 inches wide. I must confess, I stopped. It's not 11.5 because I must admit I got a little bit bored with it. It's 300 stitches in the round, and it was just a knit, and it was starting to get a little bit tedious. So I cut it a little bit short, but I still really now.
It doesn't far short of what is about 9-10 inches.
No, I think it was about 9. I think it came up about 9.
Right.
Anyway,
you had to stitch 2 ends together. No, it's in the round, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. I'm not showing you the join. Not showing you the join because it's not brilliant. I got better as I went through, but
what have you got? What in what way? You got a ladder there? You mean, or?
Now I'm going to have to show you now, aren't I?
Yeah. Come on, warts and all.
There, right. So.
Oh, okay. So has this got a deliberate Mobius twist in it?
No, it's straight. So, I've got an end sticking out there as well. Look, I haven't put that in. There was, I don't know what I did. Parts of it look all right. Other parts of it don't look so good.
Yeah, I'm failing to see what the...
That side looks That side doesn't look too bad.
Okay. So obviously because you're knitting in the round, your stripes don't match.
No.
Because it's helical knitting, isn't it? As opposed to you knit in a spiral. But there are tutorials that help you do that jogless join.
Yes. Now I did look at that because there is actually, because it's a Pearl Soho pattern. I did actually look, but it's obviously something that I need to practice. So anyway, I'm still happy with it.
The thing is, no one's going to see that, although everyone's going to see it now because I made you show it.
Thanks, pal.
I finished my socks.
Oh, good.
And if you remember last time, had I finished one sock or not? I can't remember.
You had one on the needles. I think you had.
I'd finished one and I'd moved straight on to the second, hadn't I?
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Well, that was the one I finished. That was the sock. The first one I did. Okay. Yeah. Now, I suppose, let me go back one. I have actually knitted 2 pairs of socks before this. However, the first pair of socks, I just knitted a big slouchy pair of socks. It didn't matter that they were oversized, and it didn't matter that the stitches were quite sloppy.
Right.
So that's fine. And the second pair I knitted was a double knit pair, which knitted up really quickly, and these seem to knit up very well. But since those 2, I've had no end of trouble. So, and I've undone about 3 pairs of socks because I wasn't very happy with the way they were going. So this first foray into proper sock knitting, this is what I'm calling proper sock knitting. So I did all sorts of things wrong. Okay, so first of all, they don't fit my feet, and I think I said at the time I didn't think they were going to fit. Yeah. And the reason for that is it's a shorty pair of socks, by the way. They're not long. I just made it ankle length.
I think we can see that they're shorty socks.
Yeah, actually, do you know what though? I prefer this because I have got quite big calves, and I found sometimes that socks just dig in and I get like an indentation.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So I'm quite happy that these are short socks. They're nice. But I knitted 64 stitches, which is a standard sort of sock number of stitches, on a 2.25 needle, and they've come out too small overall. Okay, so the bit where you put your this bit here where it's the broadest part of your foot, so there's your heel, and there's is that called your instep, over the top of your foot?
I thought your instep was the underneath.
I don't know. You see, the thing is, I don't know the terminology. The foot is something I'm not familiar with completely. But anyway, that bit there is really stretched over my foot. Okay. And I thought that was going to be the case. However, I decided that since I wasn't overly happy with a number of things, and I didn't like the way I'd done the gusset and things as well, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to have another go. So I do actually have a proper pair. Ta-da! So I now have 3 socks.
The name for that, isn't there? What is it?
Pardon?
Is it second sock syndrome or something?
Second sock syndrome, yeah. So these ones, I still knitted at 64 stitches the inch, and I still knitted at 2.25, but I loosened my tension a little bit, so they are marginally bigger. Not a lot, but a little bit.
And do they fit?
They're not bad. They're not bad, but what I think I now need to do is to move to a 2.5 millimetre needle. I'll still stick with 64 stitches, but move up a needle size, because one of the things I did find with this, as much as I like them, it's really, really firm. It's a very firm fabric. Yeah. And I think I want something a little looser to feel a bit more comfortable. So, but I've really enjoyed knitting them. And the second sock knitted up super quick. I did it in a day. Right. Which I was amazed at. So I've still got lots to learn in terms of the gusset and how this bit here where you join the heel flap. I'm not too keen on that. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see you do like a twisted stitch to connect the gusset, the flap to this bit. Yeah. And that seems to be a standard method so you don't get holes. But I don't like the way it looks. So I'm going to investigate a different method for doing that. There's as with all these things, there's lots of variations on a theme, isn't there? So I'm going to have a play doing something different. But I am very pleased. I did a grafted, what's it called, the Kitchener stitch on the toe, which seems to have come out quite nicely. So it's not bad. So yeah, I've got a pair of usable socks and I've got an odd one.
Okay.
So if I was Drake the Peg, I'd be all right, but I'm not. So there you are.
So I obviously have finished mine. So I've been looking for something else to do, and I decided that I was going to have a go at the flax, which is a tin can.
Oh, I like that.
A tin can.
Yeah.
I was going to say recipe then, but it's not recipe. Pattern for a. And
Well, it is a recipe, really, isn't it? Because
I suppose it is. Yes, I suppose it is.
Yeah.
So it's a free one. They offer it for free, and they also offer lots of support on their website for it as well.
Oh, that's good.
Good. And I'm going to do it in this. So I've got this. This is Nepal by Drop.
Colour. Yeah, I love that colour.
Now I've had this. I bought this. My sister-in-law owned a shop over in Bromley, and I bought this from her. I think she used to stock the drops. So I think I haven't been over to her in over 2 years. So it's been sat in the box for quite a while. So I think it's about time to take it.
Yeah, lovely. And that's the 5mm needle one, isn't it? So it should knit, whatever you do, knit quite quickly.
Yeah, hopefully, yes. So I thought it'd be a good one to start with. So I think
I've got a bunch of Nepal in I think it's a stone colourway, which now I've seen that.
We could do this along, Tracey. You could no, let's not do that because you're much quicker than I am.
No.
I certainly do. Right. So quilt wise, what have you got? Anything quilt wise?
Yeah, I have. I've got well, there's one behind me.
I was going to say you've got that lovely one that's hanging on the wall behind you. Yeah, that looks amazing.
So I'm really pleased with that. So there's I don't know if you can see the top of it. I'll move the screen a bit so you can see. So yeah.
Nice.
So there's 35 different 8-inch blocks in that.
Yep, and all lots of half square triangles.
Predominantly they are half square triangles. There's a couple of flying geese type things in there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, well, quite a few of them are based on a 4-patch and then a variation of the 4-patch. So, but it's amazing how many blocks you can get from, you know, and obviously this isn't exhaustive by any means. But yeah.
Yeah, lovely. I love your colourway. It looks really, really
well. Yeah, I call that pattern apple barrel scraps.
Is it all scraps?
No, of course not.
Oh,
work with scraps. Well, I do work with scraps. That's not true. But no, this is yardage. It's actually all Kona cotton. And I forget the name of the actual colourways now, to be honest. So pistachio is the green, I believe. And I can't think what the red. Red is not. They have a lipstick colour. It's not lipstick. I forget the colour of this one. So, and then, but it's not a new quilt. This has been knocking around for quite some while, waiting for me to put it together. So I made the blocks, possibly in 2013.
Oh, that's not bad going. Wow.
So, and I was going to put it all together, and I took it to a retreat to put it all together, and I designed it with that grey setting square.
Yeah.
Or the sashing square, and when I was putting it together, the people at the retreat said that they weren't too sure about the grey, so I took it all apart again and left it, thinking, well, what colour shall I use?
Right.
And I did. I left it for the best part of 5 years.
I like the grey. I think the grey works.
I do. But a few weeks ago, I looked at it and I thought, you know what? I actually like the grey. I designed it with the grey.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put the grey back in it. So this is as I designed it, and so I'm pleased I've completed it. So it just needs quilting now. Obviously, it's not complete as a quilt, but the hard part particularly is done now, isn't it? So So yeah, so no, I'm pleased I went back and actually did put the grey. I actually just think it gives that area of relief, and well, I think it does anyway. So
yeah, no, I think it works.
So I'm very pleased with that. So that measures something in the region of well, no, not in the region. It measures 60 inches by 80 inches. So I'm very pleased with that. So that came up nicely. So that was a finish. So I'm really pleased with that. It may be another 5 years before it's quilted. Who knows?
Well, I think you should have it done for our next episode, actually.
Well, I'll be quite honest. I can't focus on quilting at the moment.
Yeah.
My quilting machine is not like yours. It's not in the house. I have to go outside the house. It's in the garden, but I still have to walk to it, and you know, all the rest of it. And I actually don't want to be away from anybody at the moment.
No, that's fair enough.
If that sounds odd, I don't want to go and confine myself even more.
Isolate.
So, yeah.
No,
so I mean, I have done a bit of work, but it's not been. I haven't really enjoyed what I've done because I felt sort of like on my own, really on my own.
Yeah.
So it's been nice. So I've got a really nice husband. In so much he said he's very happy to have a normal sewing machine in the house, and he's very happy for me to sew on the dining table. So that's fine. So that's what I've been doing. I've been stitching up some UFOs and try and get them finished up. So I did that. So I'm really pleased with that. And then you took part in last year's row by row quilt that we did as a group. And there's quite a few of those coming out now, aren't there? All finishing.
Yeah.
The row by row quilt that we did was in 3 sizes. So we had a big, a middle, and a little one. I showed the big one on a couple of episodes ago, didn't I? If you remember that.
Yeah, just having a look. I had a feeling that mine was knocking around on my.
Yeah, yours was lovely, actually. Nice colourways.
Excuse me.
But I made all 3 sizes, and all the rows were completed, but I'd not put them together. So I'll just show you the other 2 sizes. So
yeah, it's the same size as mine. I did that size.
Yeah, this is the small size, which is about 40 by 50-ish. I think I can't remember the exact size now. I'd have to measure it.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's kind of like a sampler, but not a sampler because you're making more than one of them, aren't you? So
yes.
So yeah. So I like this colourway. I really like the spotted background with the plain forming the blocks.
Very nice. So for anybody who doesn't know, a sampler quilt is a quilt that's made sampling different blocks. So usually
this is an ideal example of a sampler.
Yeah. So usually each block is a different block, and you're sampling each one, and then you usually put them together like Tracey's done, with some sashing through them and maybe some posts and things like that, just to break them up.
Yeah. And then the row by row is just taking that one step further, isn't it? Sort of where you've got the same block repeated several times. Well, that was the small version of the row by row. This is a kind of interesting colourway. I quite like this colourway myself. It probably won't appeal to a lot of people, but I actually quite liked it.
Yeah, it's quite an unusual blend.
Yeah. So it's kind of vintagey feel to it.
Yeah.
Well, I think it has. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it has. It looks very nice.
Yeah. So it's like an acidy pink background, which is not a colour I would normally go to, which is why I chose it, to be honest. I thought, well, what can I do and how can you make these colours work? So you've got like a gold and the green, or not a gold, it's more like cheddar gold, possibly. Would you call it cheddar gold?
Yeah, sort of mustardy, deeper. Yeah. And what size is that? Is that the large?
No, that's the middle size one.
The middle size one. Okay, so that's quite big, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Large is massive.
Well, I pulled the large one down just so you could see the difference in size. So we have shown this one before, but this is the large one, and you can see
that's a huge mother.
The blocks are completely different in size.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So if I remember right, how do I think about it? 12 inches. 9-inch, 12-inch block for the large, 9-inch for the medium size, and then 6-inch for the small.
For the small, yeah.
But it's the same pattern repeated, and I've used just the 3 colours all the way through. So you've only got three fabrics. Well, this one actually got a little bit more because I ran out of background fabric on that one, but that's all right.
I've been working my way through some old quilt tops, so that's the little one I'm putting on Instagram.
I love the turquoise edge one. Yeah, and you did a muscle quilting design. I really like that.
Yeah, which I really enjoy doing actually. I really do enjoy doing that pan. So I've just got that ready to bind. I'm trying to use, because obviously I can't get out, so I'm having to use what I've got at home. So I'm going to, I don't know if you can see, but I'll get my finger, that one there. I'm going to try and use that for the binding, because I haven't really got anything else that will.
I think that'll look fine.
I think everything.
And that's a log cabin design, isn't it?
That's an off-centered log cabin, that one, yes. Yeah, and I think it was a jelly roll. It was a jelly roll. The next one I'm going to throw on, I think, is going to be this one, which
oh, that's lovely.
So
yeah, I like that.
I think again.
Now that's like a bento. Is that like a bento square?
Bento box. It's a bento box, I think. Yes, I made it quite a while ago.
Yeah.
You can always tell, can't you, how long they've been knocking around by how badly frayed they are.
Well, yes, actually, this one in particular, that's terrible behind. So I've got to give it a real haircut before.
That one was shocking, really, really bad. So,
if any of you didn't, if you watch our Instagram channel, I put a video up the other week, or the day rather, of how to remove stray strands. If you get like it's so hop over to have a look at that, because sometimes when you quilt, you do get the odd strand of thread gets caught behind it.
You do.
And it doesn't matter how good you are at trying to trim everything off, every now and again you get one that comes through. But I'll show you how to actually get rid of those once you've quilted it. So
having said that, I will show you this though, because we did talk about this on a previous one. So this is again, this was for a class, and I wanted to use some of the B&Co ombre fabrics, which I then quilted. I've got a sleeve on, and it has actually been hanging up on the wall as well, so I've just taken it down. But we talked about my backing fabric, and if I hold this up, you can maybe, I don't know if you can see, maybe you won't be able to see. Well, you can see it from that side.
Yes. My
backing fabric had it's got a dark dot going.
Oh, and it's shadowing through.
And then if you hang, you see it.
Oh, that's kind of interesting though. Quite like that.
Yeah, it's not too bad, is it? I mean, obviously it's not what I would choose to have, but you can just see. Actually, when it's up against on the wall, you can't see it, so it's fine.
Right.
But yeah, it's just something to be aware of, perhaps, when you're choosing your backing fabric and you've got a light fabric on the front. Just be careful that you don't choose something that you can see through. So, dressmaking wise, have you got anything? Did you make what you're wearing, by the way?
I did many years ago. Yeah, it was actually out of a magazine. Well, I don't remember who. I don't remember where.
No, it's quite grain line. I've got. Is it?
Yeah, it's just a tunic.
Yeah,
just a tunic with pockets.
It's very nice.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is there a dart in it? There might be a dart in it. Can't remember. Yeah, there's a dart in it.
Yeah.
It was one of those fabrics. It was really quite stiff to begin with, but over time, it's really, as I've washed it, it's really, so it's quite comfy now. Whereas at one time, you're like that.
Not very comfortable.
No.
I've pulled out. So I've pulled out the Fielder by Merchant.
I don't know that one.
There's a shorter cropped version, which is a bit like actually you can see some pattern on the back. Look, that one there.
Yeah.
So I thought I would have a go at that.
Does that have a ribbing on it?
It has a ribbing on the neck, on the cuffs, and if you choose to, you can put it round, so it's almost like a sweatshirt.
Right.
And so I pulled out this, which is, if you can see, but it's a lovely green.
Petrol bluish colour?
Shot.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Through it like that. And I was thinking I might use that as my That's my
contrast.
But I'm not sure if I've got enough of this to be able to do all of the cuffing. So I might.
Oh, okay.
I might
for the cuff and for the top.
For the neck. So you need for the neck, the sleeves, and then the waistband.
Oh, yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. Look, you don't need much for any of that, do you?
You don't. But I have decided that if I haven't, I'm not going to stress about it. I'm going to do the neck. I'm going to do the cuffs, and if need be, I'll just make it into like a shirt and just leave it off the bottom. So because I have seen some of those.
Yeah. Yes.
But that has been, the pattern has been cut out for a week now, and I've had no motivation to get started with it at all.
No, I understand that as well. I keep going off the boil, and then it's really been a week of quilting, hasn't it? Really, for both of us, I think. Really, so we've both been doing these things. Yeah. Ta-da! You've got yours somewhere, haven't you?
Hold on, where did I put it?
Have you done the second one or not?
Oh no! Where have I put them? They were here. I had them right in front of me. There, look, right in front of me. So, what have you got? Have you got your first one?
Yeah, this is the log cabin, and amazing how different they look, isn't it? When I didn't actually worry about fabric placement. I just went for it. I just winged it. You thought about fabric placement, and yours is much more of the traditional log cabin look with the half square coming in, isn't it?
Yeah, but I wanted to break mine up a little bit.
You've thrown those extra full squares in, which I really like.
I mean, you say I thought about it, but I literally, this is just a pile of fabrics, and I just picked a piece at random. I didn't really. They're the same sort of colour range and everything.
Tones. Tones. Yeah, nice. The toe quality is nice. So again, I've not worried too much about fabrics. I thought I didn't buy anything for. Oh, by the way, we should explain. This is the Juicy Juice and Alison Glass mini series quilt along that they're doing, or sew along. And I think it said when I saw the video we did the other day, Juicy Juice is. Do you know his proper name? Juicy Juice is his handle on Instagram.
It's not just
Giuseppe. It's Giuseppe, isn't it?
Giuseppe?
Yeah, I believe so. Anyway, he's a lovely guy. He's really nice.
Yeah.
So I think he said 2,000 people were doing it.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
That's amazing. 2,000 people globally are all sat there making these. We should explain by the way. This is this week's. It's an 8-week quilt along, isn't it? So lovely.
I haven't finished it yet. I'm still working.
Very nice. So okay. So you've still got a few more rounds to go.
Yeah, I've got maybe 4 rounds to go on mine, but I ran out of steam with it yesterday afternoon. So that was
it is quite a long process because each one of these logs, this one of these things here is called a log, and they're 1/4 inch wide, so they're very, very skinny.
And just so you can see, this is what you actually do. You sew it over paper.
It's foundation paper piecing. And I have another acronym for it, but I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Don't use yours. No, we're a clean podcast, thank you. Don't any of that sort of.
No swear words.
So it's all printed on this side, and then you put your fabric on the opposite side, but you actually sew from this side. So there's a lot of this going on, which can be a little bit confusing to get your head around.
It's a. Do you use a piece of plastic to help you fold the paper?
I have a little, I keep a selection, whenever we go somewhere, I always buy a postcard. So this is actually, I don't know if Tracey remembers this is from the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville.
Oh, Nashville, I do remember that, yes.
So I always buy a card, and I have a selection of little cards, and I use the card to fold the paper over.
Yeah, if you haven't tried foundation paper piecing, it's a really interesting technique because it's you're working back to front or upside down, whichever way you want to look at it, and then you have to fold the paper over something so that you can trim the fabric to line it up for your next piece of fabric to go against. So it's a multi-step process, isn't it?
Yeah. But the beauty of it is that you get such accurate, really, really neat results.
Well, you can get, I'm afraid I'm not that accurate sometimes. It's getting on the lines, particularly when you're sewing in the dark, which doesn't help. So you do need good light to do it. But overall, the overall effect is still there. So I'm not going to worry about it.
I love that one. That looks amazing. And I don't know about you, but they obviously put, you know, they paste some of them into their stories on their Instagram sites. And I got all fangirl the other day because both of them put my block on there. They're always about, oh my God,
yeah. Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I think that's fantastic when that.
But I did notice that yours made his cut this morning. Yours was.
Oh, did it? I've not looked at it, to be honest. Oh, right. Okay, that's good. And that's lovely to say. But anyway, at some point or other, you notice these two blocks, there was a slight difference in size. And I was a bit concerned about that. However, I did get some feedback from Alison, who said, no, they've been produced as independent patterns. They were released as independent patterns. They're not meant to be the same size.
Right.
However, one thing I did not know, and I wish I did, the sew along is designed for a 4-inch finished square. It is not designed for what we've been doing.
Oh no!
So we have been doing a lot more than we need to. I thought you'd ask about that this morning.
Oh my God! You mean I could have stopped ages ago?
Could have stopped a very long time ago. So the back of these foundations actually has, you won't be able to see it, but on the back of the foundation there is a mark for a 4. Well, actually you cut it at 4.5 inches or just over 4.5 inches. So if we wanted to, we could actually chop these down. Nothing's been wasted, except the fact we've done more rounds. So we need to. I will not be chopping these down. I'm actually going to continue to make them the full size.
How did we miss that?
Possibly because I never read it. So.
Well, no, I obviously didn't either. So,
but I like the bigger block. I mean, the fact that it's a marginal difference, I'm not going to worry about that. You could actually, if you did want to put them into the same piece of work, I won't be putting them into the same piece of work, which is whilst, you know, I'm not too worried about them being slightly different.
Okay.
If they were going into the same piece of work, then I've left extra on the side. So one piece would be very slightly bigger than the other. You're talking about anywhere, it's somewhere between 1/4 inch, an 1/8 and 1/4 inch difference between the two block sizes. So it's minimal, but it's enough to throw your piecing.
So we could do another set.
I don't think so.
Okay, fine. Tracey didn't really want to do this, I don't think. I think I talked her into it. So I think she was using a potty mouth and calling me lots of nasty names when we first started it. I think
foundation paper piecing is not my preferred method, but as I said, I have actually found this quite addictive. So maybe I'm coming round. The other thing I've been making is these things.
Oh yes.
What you have to do is put your glasses over the top because
is this
you get
your Hardy impression?
Yeah.
You have to talk like that.
So this is Star Wars because my sons like Star Wars. So
not Star Wars, that's Star Trek.
I mean Star Trek.
That's Star Trek.
Star Trek. Yeah. I don't know my Star Wars from my Star Trek. Anyway. So I made loads. I'll have that one now because I braided it to it. I made loads. I've actually sent loads over to my German son.
Yep.
He's not German, but he lives in Germany.
Yep.
So I've sent a load over to him. My daughter requested black, but I only had that nasty looking elastic, so I've ordered some orange elastic for her. So
yeah, she likes orange.
She's got a different, so
I'll
take
nice.
that. But they're an easy make. They are from craftpassion.com. That's where the pattern came from. I have, as I always do, messed around with the make of it to see whether I could improve the make of it.
No, I'm shocked, Tracey.
Well, the thing is, I think I've made about 30 of the things now. I've got a huge pile plus more that I've sent away elsewhere. And if you're doing it on a production line process, which I do, obviously it takes ages to make one at a time.
Yeah.
So if you've got 6 people in your family, then get everything cut out and ready to go and make 6 in one go.
Yeah.
It becomes so much more efficient to do it that way. But you've got to work out sometimes to make a one-off, the process for making a one-off is not the same as the process for making multiple at a time.
Yeah.
So I messed around with whether I to stitch the elastics in, or to do like this one. That one's got a casing, and in the end I decided the casing was actually the better way to go, because then it allows you the option to tighten those elastics. Yeah. Whereas this one, where it's sewn in, you kind of stuck.
Yes.
With the size that it is. So I messed around quite a bit, and so now I've got my preferred method, and I shall stick to that. Now, I was a little bit concerned, because I thought, well, is there no one actually going to use these? Am I wasting my time? And I have to say, my family have all taken to them really well. I have no issue going to the shops wearing them.
No.
Or going out for a walk wearing them.
It's becoming more common, isn't it, to see people in masks? And I think it was on the news last night that the World Health Organization are considering changing their view on wearing masks and how effective it is.
Yeah. Well, of course, I mean, my view on this was, these are never to stop you getting COVID, it's to stop somebody else getting it from you.
Exactly, and that's what they were saying. It limits. There was a very interesting study about sneezing and how far a sneeze travelled.
Yeah.
Saying that, that they are, a means of stopping it travelling quite so far.
Well, yeah, I must admit, I mean, I refer to them as cough droplet masks, because it's keeping everything in, or to some extent. But I did a little piece of research to find out the effectiveness of cloth masks, and I think it's Cambridge University did it in association with somebody else. I don't remember who the somebody else was, but and it was not done as a to do with COVID. It was to do with some other activity, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And they actually looked at the proper masks with all of the proper filters, and then they looked at tea towel fabric, they looked at a closely woven fabric, and they also looked at a cotton t-shirt and the effectiveness, and at the end of the day, the cotton t-shirt fabric came out pretty much towards the top of the list, because it's a compromise between how dense the fabric is to stop the droplets from going through the weave of the fabric, versus breathability, and how much moisture is retained.
Yeah.
So it was a compromise between. So the cotton t-shirt came out really well. So I'm kind of thinking, well, if you use cotton t-shirt if you've got it, but a cotton quilting fabric, which is 64 thread to the inch or thereabouts, is pretty good as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been using. So
what she's trying to say, I'm going to say, if you like what you've seen, give us a quick like down below. Give us a thumbs up.
Subscribe. Tell your friends.
That's it.
I'll tell you what we've missed, of course. Now today is episode 18.
Oh yes.
And one of the things we said we were going to do was to draw the winners of the. We had a 100 subscriber
giveaway.
That's the word I was trying to think of. Yeah. So we had all you had to do was to tell us if you were a quilter, a knitter, or a stitcher, or sewist. I don't like the word sewist. Do you like the word? No, no, I don't like so. So if you sew, if you knit, or if you quilt, and we had 3 little bundles. So we had some fabrics to give away if you are a quilter. We had a lovely ball of West Yorkshire spinners. I think this was Peacock, wasn't it? I think it was Peacock.
We'll say Peacock.
Country Birds 4-ply. Or there was a dressmaking pattern, which this one's quite versatile. So this was the pattern that was chosen for that. And we were going to draw the winners in episode 18. Today's episode 18 now. obviously things have changed very quickly in a very short period of time. So we're going to keep it running for a little bit longer, because we can put things in the post. We can't post things internationally that easily, I believe, at the moment.
Not sure about that one. Not sure.
That might not be true. But, so anyway, I think we'll keep it running for another couple of episodes. So you still got a chance to actually enter the giveaway. So please do leave a comment. If you don't want to leave a comment on YouTube, then you can actually leave it on our Instagram page as well. I think that's fine. Yeah, if you're happy for that.
Yeah.
So these are your choices. Oops. Try and get them around the right way. There we go. Yeah.
Perfect.
So do enter the giveaway, because we really would like 4 people. We didn't have that many people enter either. That was another thing, did we? So it'd be nice to have a few more entries.
It would indeed. Okay. Well, it was nice to see you.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, and we shall see you in episode 19.
And stay safe and take care.
Stay safe, stay well, look after yourself, enjoy your crafting time.
Bye.
Bye now.